In this design project, we tried to solve a problem. My problem was that every Tuesday and Friday, a trash truck passes by to each house to pick up and take up the trash. The problem is that in our condominium, there's no recycling trucks, neither a disposal to throw all the products that can be recycled. Instead, we need to take all the recycling to a place by Santana. For example, every week my mom needs to go to Santana just to dispose the recycling materials. This results in a problem because many families decide not to recycle because they don't have the time to go. A huge problem that today we're dealing is contamination. Contamination is one of the biggest problems that the world is going through. Contamination brings many negative effects to our society. For example, it affects human health, creates a lot of pollution, and it also affects our ecosystem. All that was criterion A1. Criterion A2 was to make a research plan. For example, I needed to state my primary research questions as which materials can be recycled and which ones not, the benefits of recycle, and condominiums nearby that have the same process. And then I needed secondary research questions like functions, location, cost of my project and solution. After all that, I decided to create a project to help the environment. The project consists on creating a well-elaborated design and plan to present to the directive board of my condominium, Hacienda del Sol, about the recycling problem. So, to solve this problem, I came up with an idea of creating a presentation. In the presentation, I will talk about the problem, my solution, and its benefits to our society. Implementing recycling bins. For criterion B, I needed to come up with my design specification. For example, location, the capacity, the function, and how it will work, and the materials about the recycling bins. Then I needed to do some sketches and compare and contrast them with my requirements, and then decide the chosen and final product. After choosing my final design, I needed to explain it really well. For example, its dimensions, its height, weight, why I chose it, and the capacity and everything really detailed to explain it very good in my presentation. On criterion D was the planning part. The best way to present my idea of implementing recycling bins to the condominium is by creating a good business pitch. So I did a chart about the steps to create my presentation, with the steps, the explanation of why, and the estimated time it would take me. After having my steps clear, I started to build up my presentation. In my presentation, I talk about contamination and its problems. I also explain the positive impacts of recycling. What is recycling? How can we help our society? The benefits that recycling brings to our society, and then my product, that is implementing recycling bins to our condominium. Since the beginning of creating my presentation, I never did a big change. This is because since the beginning, I really knew what I wanted to make to help my community, and also since I did the steps very clearly, I followed them and it was successful. In criterion D, after a lot of research and ideas of the best way to present my solution product to the board of directors of my condominium, I presented them the presentation I made, implementing recycling bins in Hacienda del Sol. After I finished my presentation, they told me that they don't think they will implement recycling bins since people don't recycle and they think they will not be used. After I heard that, I decided to make some surveys. I started to ask people if they recycle and why, if they think implementing recycling bins to the condominium will be used and helpful, and in their opinion, what is the biggest benefits to recycle, and etc. I also went to the Santana Center and interviewed a trash recollector. I presented him my idea of implementing recycling bins to the condominium and asked him if he thinks it will be successful or not and if it's a good idea. He told me that yes, but the biggest problem of my solution is that it wouldn't work if people are not committed to recycle. Then I went back to my design specifications and from a scale of 1 to 5 graded myself of how much I made it and why. Then I reflected on myself and saw if I made an impact to someone in the society or community about my solution. Since I didn't impact someone because it wasn't accepted my solution, I started to think in some improvements I can make to impact and be accepted. I decided to keep understanding and keep serving people about why don't they recycle and help understand people the problem that we're facing today. That is contamination. If I accomplish all that, I can have a really good impact to my community and every citizen of my condominium. I will impact them not only by helping the world, but also they will feel very good in their inside by knowing the good and contribution they are doing. So I hope the board of my condominium in the future will accept my proposal. And all this was my design project, which was create a solution for a problem